What is up, Park Drive Kids and you? So, my name's Brittany. I used to be a youth pastor in Penticton, and now I'm a youth minister out in the UK. And actually, Park Drive Church has such a special place in my heart, and I'm so blessed to call Stacy and Bart my friends. So, obviously with all this coronavirus stuff happening, life has been a bit weird, and we've all been in isolation, and how we do church and what church looks like has changed as well. So, I've made a few youth and children's videos. Warning, I'm a bit weird, so sometimes my videos are weird, and you just have to accept that now. So here we go! Enjoy! Today's game is called the Whisper Game. Now, James knows this one because we played it last week for Cypher, but for those of you who don't know, James is going to be wearing these wonderful headphones. And he's got music playing really loud, and we're going to read him a phrase. It could be anything, and he has to guess what we're saying. Are you ready?
What?
Question number 1. Olive juice.
Orange juice.
Olive juice.
Olive shoes.
Oh, he only gets 3 tries, so he's used 2. I forgot to say that rule. Olive juice.
Orange tree. Olive juice. That's not even a thing.
Let's do the second one. Don't look. Is the music playing?
It's just stopping.
He tried!
It's playing the Killers now. Or Franz Ferdinand.
I licked a lion.
Just say it like a normal person.
I licked a lion.
Alphabet soup.
I licked a lion. I licked a lion.
Alhambra. Ice chalk.
Should we do one more, James? Just one more. Do donuts have holes?
This gets old.
Does donuts have holes?
Two cold falls.
And that's it. That's today's game. So James had to go, but Justin was able to come here. Justin's been sailing the 7 seas. Yarr. So let's start this week's video off with everyone's favorite way to start a video off. It's where I shut up and you get a question. So the question is, who is your life hero? Do you have someone you really look up to or makes you feel really inspired? If you're watching at home with your family or the sibling or a friend, whoever you're watching with, give this video a pause and discuss. Life hero. Probably, it sounds so corny, but probably my parents, my mom and my dad. I just feel like they raised my sister and I so well, and they honestly just like poured their hearts, their souls, everything into us. Who would you say your biggest celebrity hero is? Ooh, good one. Probably the Spice Girls. So, if y'all were born after 1999, let's take you back to the feminist icons. Girl power, the Spice Girls. You spread the message of girl power through catchy pop songs, amazing 90s fashion, and their signature peace sign. I'm not sure how many of you guys remember last Sunday's sermon. We talked about how Jesus was more appealing than religion, and actually not much has changed. Like when you tell your non-Christian friends that you're a Christian, they're not exactly chuffed to bits for you, are they? Or Christianity is a boring list of rules, they say, of stuff like you can do or you can't do. You're a total buzzkill. Sir Buzz Killington III. But when you mention Jesus, people don't actually have a problem with him. They might even say that he was a wise teacher or he was a good guy. But there's another thing I've heard from Christians and non-Christians alike. And I've even had a season of doubt in my life where I took some time to really evaluate what I believed and why I believed it. And this was one of the major questions I had. If God is real, then how come there's so much pain and suffering in this world? Have you ever thought about that? There are theologians far smarter than myself. I know, you can't believe it, can you? There's people smarter than me. There are theologians far smarter than myself who have written lots of books about this. But the real answer boils down to this. I don't know. We have a few areas we can point to in the Bible, like starting in the Garden of Eden and then the choices that were made there, but that just usually ends up begging more questions. But I do know all of my Bible heroes are no strangers to pain and suffering. Literally all of my Bible heroes. When we flip through the pages of the Old Testament, who does God reveal himself to? Slaves. Who does he take out of the darkness and cruelty of slavery and into the promised land? Have you ever read the Psalms? Literally half of them are as depressing as they come. Should we read some? Psalm 2. Why do the nations conspire and the peoples plot in vain? Psalm 3. Lord, how many are my foes? How many rise up against me? Psalm 5. Listen to my words, Lord, and consider my lament. Psalm 6. Lord, do not rebuke me in your anger or discipline me with your wrath. These are just the first sentences of a bunch of the first psalm. Psalm 7. Lord my God, I take refuge in you. Save me and deliver me from all who pursue me. Or they will tear me apart like a lion and rip me into pieces with no one to rescue me. Psalm 10. Why, Lord, do you stand so far off? Why do you hide yourself from me in times of trouble? Psalm 13. How long, Lord, will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me? These are depressing. And there's the prophets. Do you think they had easy lives? They were despised. Our heroes didn't get to where they are because they had these easy, perfect lives. That, I don't know, it just ended up being really easy. Things just really worked out for me. No, they went there. They went through some stuff. They went through the heavy. They went through the struggle, and they've overcome. There are no shortcuts. There are no ways around pain and suffering. There's only through. And it's a heck of a lot easier if you go through it with God. My heroes in the Bible, they aren't like the big man. They're the broken man. They're the people who come with a broken spirit. It says in the Bible, with a spirit of heaviness, we put on the garment of praise. The person who says, you know, God, I'm not perfect. I don't have it all together. I'm not the big man. I'm not the big shot. I'm small and I'm humble and I've messed up time and time again. But Lord, do you think you could still use me? If I come to you, God, if I set my eyes on you, if I give you all the glory, do you think you could even use someone like me? And what does God do? The slaves, he gives freedom. The psalmist receives comfort. The prophets are filled with the Spirit and do unfathomable things, prophesying. Elijah Blumenwell raises someone from the dead. The broken receive the prize, and there's no way around it. There's only through it. And then we have Jesus, who doesn't ever seem to glorify those who have it all together. Not like the guys with the good stable jobs who just have it all together. Everything just worked out for me. No, who does he choose? He chooses the homeless, the outcast, the prostitute, the tax collector, the people who are just completely on the fringe of society, the people who have been rejected. And then we come to this moment in the Bible that's filled with the most hurt and the most suffering. And it's Jesus when he's betrayed by Judas, and Jesus is seized and tried, no guilt found in him, but still the powerful Jewish leaders demanded he's crucified. So let's open it up together and have a read. So it's Luke 23, and it's going to be verses 26 to 43. If you see the crucifixion of Jesus, you did it. You did it, kid. You're in the right place. When they came to the place called Skull, they crucified him there, along with the criminals, one on his right and the other on his left. Jesus said, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. One of the most famous lines in scripture. You know where it is now. And they divided up his clothes by casting lots. The people stood watching, and the rulers even sneered at him. They said, he saved others, let him save himself, if he's God's Messiah, the chosen one. The soldiers also came up and mocked him. They offered him wine vinegar and said, if you're the king of the Jews, save yourself. There was a written notice above him which read, this is the king of the Jews. One of the criminals who hung there hurled insults at him. Aren't you the Messiah? Save yourself and us. But the other criminal rebuked him and said, don't you fear God? He said, since you are under the same sentence, we are punished justly, for we are getting what our deeds deserve, but this man has done nothing wrong. Then he said, Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. Jesus answered him, truly I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise. Being a follower of Christ is about what Jesus has done. Just be. You're good enough. The thief isn't measured about what he did, but when he said, God, will you remember me? When he believed, that's what he's measured by. So it's the darkest moment in history. At the moment of his death, darkness came over the land and the temple veil was torn in two and Jesus' spirit left him. The Passover lamb was slain, the atonement for all of sin, and it's dark. Literally. And it's heavy. And it's not the kind of stuff that makes really fun, lighthearted, quirky YouTube videos, but it's the stuff that makes it all worth it. This is the moment that changed it all. The one sacrifice by God and for all. Now I want you to think. Do you have anything in your life that's getting in the way of the fullness that God has for you? That one thing that's always in the back of your mind, that thing that takes up a little bit too much of your time, a little bit too much of your heart, something that's taking away way too much of your worry. Do you have anything in your life that's like that? Do you feel like maybe God is asking you to do something? And maybe there's just something that's kind of standing in the way. Maybe it's school. Are you too worried about your exams and your papers? Are you more worried about school than you are about your relationship with Jesus? Is it shame or embarrassment to give something to God or even to mention what this thing is? Do you think you're not good enough? You're not worthy? Grown-ups. I'm gonna tell you, I have a lot. My list keeps getting longer the older I get. What is that thing that's standing in the way between you and the fullness that God has for you? And don't you think He's maybe put us on the earth for something a little bit bigger than these things? As our crucified Christ surrendered His Spirit, let us surrender this to Him. And I want to invite you right now to let it die in the darkness. Let it breathe its last in the darkness. I usually like to end with a thought-provoking question, but today I just want to invite you into the discomfort of surrender, the discomfort into the darkness, the discomfort of saying, Jesus, I'm not perfect, but you are. Have it all. Have my sin, have my shortcomings, and none of it defines me, but you do, Jesus.